Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sapnewski, and you are watching Clear Cryptos. I can't believe this is going to happen. We are going to listen to a public Twitter space where Simon Dixon and Alex Mashinsky go head to head. Now, this is epic because, Alex Mashinsky is the CEO of Celsius Network. They're in Chapter 11 bankruptcy protections right now. You would think that he wouldn't want to say anything publicly. His lawyers would want him to shut up and don't say anything to anyone, don't make any public statements or announcements. But he went right on Twitter and sort of clap back at Simon Dixon because Simon Dixon, he's one of the most vocal opponents of Alex Mashinsky and what is going on with Celsius Network. So Alex Mashinsky came onto the Twitter space that was hosted by Simon Dixon because number one, Simon Dixon gives updates because if you're someone that had your cryptocurrency parked on Celsius Network, you're what's known as an unsecured creditor. This is something that you have to be involved in. This is not a sideline type of thing. You've got to be involved with this. You've got to sign up to get the emails. You have to go through the paperwork. If you want your cryptocurrency back, you've got to take these steps. You have to be involved. And Simon Dixon keeps all of the holders up to date as, progress in some of the talks, what's going on, what they're looking for. And he was also talking about the potential of his company, Bank to America, possibly having something to do with salt that would be very similar to what Celsius Network is doing, where you could put your cryptocurrency on there, earn some yield, or loan it as something. And I think Alex Mashinsky is very threatened by this because now that Celsius has gone bankrupt, there has been a lot of eyes on Simon Dixon and Bank to America. And he feels like, Simon's trying to poach our holders. Don't worry about this. Celsius is going to come out of bankruptcy and we're going to be, back to business as usual. But Simon Dixon is looking to poach our holders, which I don't think is true. But before we get to the public space, it's amazing to be quite honest, this is going on. One of the biggest updates, Alex Mashinsky is wanting to sell the stable coins on the Celsius network to keep up with operations, the cost of operations. So a lot of people are upset with this because you know what? Those are not his stable coins. Those are the holders or the people that have their cryptocurrency on the exchange, the unsecured creditors. And they're like, no, you don't get to do this because what you need to do is go to your treasury and sell the sell tokens that are sitting in your treasury. But he doesn't want to do that because he feels like that will devalue or that will bring down the price of the sell token. If Celsius doesn't come out of bankruptcy, what does it matter? Because we've seen this happen before. Companies go into Chapter 11, and what happens? They can go right into Chapter 7. Just because you go through Chapter 11 doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make it through and everything's going to be okay. Sometimes Chapter 11 does lead to Chapter 7, and once it hits Chapter 7, that's liquidation. Everything gets sold, goodbye. So let's listen to the Twitter space and then I'll give a little bit of commentary here, but let's just jump right into it. And like I said, this, Simon had already been speaking about Bank to America a little bit. He talked about the ETH merge and he also was talking about the association with salt. So let's pick it up from there.
So Alex is here.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, Alex.
Yes, great. Thank you for letting me speak. Since Simon has been on our channels a dozen times, first of all, Celsius bankruptcy is not like all other bankruptcies. There are no bondholders or other people in front of the community. The community is the creditor, the main creditor, which means the community owns most of the company, most of the mining company, most of the sell token. So if Simon's trying to make it go somewhere else, that diminishes, that makes you throw stones at your own house. We are here to fix Celsius. We're here to bring everybody together. We're here to extract as much value as possible for the creditors, for all the people who are owning part of Celsius. I'm a creditor, just like you. One of the largest creditors, just like you. Okay, so instead of fixing, let me finish. Instead of trying to fix Celsius, Simon is trying to take it to a different house. Say, hey, forget about this one. Doesn't matter if you own a piece of it. Come with me somewhere else because we're going to make it better over there. That's not going to make it better for you, for what you own in Celsius. For us to maximize the value of the company, we need to stick together and rebuild this company. That's all we need to do. Okay? And I'm
Okay,
shocked.
Alex,
I'm
how would
shocked
you
I'm
suggest
shocked
how
that
could I
Simon,
help in that
who
process?
is is betraying his own investors, the people he brought into the A round to come in with him instead of fixing the problem, help fix the problem. He's trying to buy it on the cheap. He's trying to take you somewhere else. Just like if there was anybody who didn't help their fellow man, it's Simon Dixon.
That's harsh.
These are
Okay, so
adults.
Alex, what would you like
Plain
me to
C,
do?
stop.
Let's have a constructive conversation with
Plain C.
I'm allowed to
Mute.
speak. All I'm saying is
No.
let's have a constructive excuse me, I'm talking.
So Alex, what could we do to help better?
We have a process. It's called Chapter 11. We all are part of that process. You have an idea, you have a way to solve this, you need to submit a plan to the UCC. That's what you need to do. Bringing on
That's not quite the process, Alex.
Bringing on a competitor of Celsius and trying to convince people to switch over, trying to convince everybody that somehow the other house is better while everybody's suffering.
You know as well as us that both Sean and us have offered up solutions, and the process is not to go to the UCC. It's to go to the investment bank.
Did you submit a plan to the UCC?
No, it's not to the UCC. It's to the investment bank that Celsius has engaged.
You need to submit a plan to the UCC, Simon. That's what you need to do.
Okay, well, that's not the process. The process is the investment bank.
Your own process. You decided to create your own process. You're taking this, trying to take the Celsius community somewhere else. You're basically telling them, guys, come take new loans.
Alex, did both Sean and I offer up all of our licenses at one stage to try and get this compliant?
This has nothing to do with any of that. Okay, this has to do with all the people on this call.
Do you agree that the regulators are a big part of whether this actually gets out of Chapter 11?
The only thing you have to do, Simon, is submit a plan. Can you submit a plan instead of giving all the excuses?
And it doesn't go to the UCC. It has to go to your investment bank.
Instead of all the excuses, just submit a plan.
And what process and what I can and can't say and what documents had to be signed that is preventing me saying what's happening here.
Simon, come on. How many months did you spend in the data room in Celsius? Can you share it with everybody? Just tell everybody.
There's a document that I had to sign that doesn't allow me to answer that question.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think you already violated
the process is
you
the
already
investment
violated the document by
Celsius
disclosing
control.
certain things on calls before. So I think you're already beyond that point. Okay. So anyway, look, I'm trying to be constructive here. Okay.
Okay. Let's do that, Alex.
We are trying to help the Celsius community. We're trying to return the coins to everybody as fast as possible. That's what we all should be focused on.
Okay, and should we be focused on getting this so that regulators allow this to come out?
You keep coming up with every excuse possible to talk about everything else besides what I just said.
That's the issue, Alex. That's the issue. You're just trying to avoid that.
Can I ask a question to Alex? It's an important question for everyone.
I think he's left.
So very simple.
Look, to be fair, sorry, Pansy. To be fair, I want to be fair. Alex literally just came up against all of his lawyers' advice because this meant so much to him to say and it's very, very challenging for anybody to have to listen to this without you getting your say. Okay, so he dropped off not because he didn't want to, because Alex would, stand up to anybody. That's certainly something he would do. But he left because he had to.
So there you go. Simon did give him kudos for coming up, saying, geez, you know what? He didn't have to talk, but it's difficult to do that, to stay silent on the sidelines when people are talking about you, especially if you think, you know what, I've done nothing wrong. Let me say something. And I don't know what Alex Mashinsky believes. I'm not in the man's head, but I do know that when it comes to those unsecured creditors, there's 500,000 of them. 500,000 people are currently losing money because of Celsius. Now, you know, I would say probably, I think it's like around 300,000 people have, I think have more than $100. So of worth of cryptocurrency on the platform. So that would put like 200,000 people under that $100 area. So, when I say 500,000, like 60% of them are not really that hurt, right? Like I know $100 is a lot of money to some people, but it's in the scheme of things, it's really not that much. But there are that other, 300,000 that had significance amount of money on there. Like Simon Dixon, he has a lot of money on Celsius. And you just have to like cross your fingers and hope that you're going to get your money back and you'd like it back in kind. In other words, if you put on 10 Bitcoin, you're hoping to get 10 Bitcoin back. You're hoping that they stay the course and that somehow they do fix this and, keep up with operations so that you get your Bitcoin back. Because if it does go from chapter 11 into chapter 7, that's liquidation. Now, what happens in liquidation is they don't give you back what you put in. What they do is they auction things off. Even though it's cryptocurrency, they're going to auction off the crypto. So somebody, let's say if you have 5 Bitcoin sitting on there, when they go to auction it off, they're going to group it all together. And let's say the complete value of all of those tokens is like, I'm just making up a number. Let's say it's like $100 million, which it's way more than that, I'm sure. But like it's $100 million. Let's say somebody goes to auction for it and they bid 75 and they're the highest bidder. They're going to get the 75. So then everybody else has got to take a part of their 75. So we definitely do not want this to go into liquidation. We definitely want it to progress in chapter 11. And we do want Celsius to get back on track. Whether or not that's going to happen or whether or not it's going to be profitable in any way, we don't know. Okay, they do want to continue on with their Bitcoin mining process. But, Bitcoin mining, there's a halving cycle coming up, which cuts the Bitcoin mining revenue in half. So those cycles happen every now and then. I just don't know how Celsius is going to do it because they're staring at a $1 billion gap on their balance sheets. How they make that up, I don't know. Maybe they cannot generate $1 billion worth of Bitcoin from mining at this point. They can't do that. But there is a chance that the market rebounds. They do get some value back in the Cell token. Maybe some loans get paid back that weren't paid back before. Something. We're hoping for success for Alex Mashinsky and the unsecured creditors of Cell. Definitely that's what we want. But I wanted to play that very interesting exchange because I've never heard anything like it. It was epic. Well, that's going to do it here for me today, and I will catch you next time on Clear Cryptos. Take care.